Hey everyone, this is Splinter here. Welcome back. It's been a while, and there's a lot to talk about. Hopefully this recording works. Because I actually did initially record it was like just 7 minutes, something very short. And found out the OBS wasn't capturing it, so that was fun. That's why there wasn't an update video last week like I had originally promised, but hopefully there will be one this weekend at the very least. But it's been a while. There's a fair bit to talk about. So obviously, the big thing was there were no videos last week except for that Halo video, just because every waking hour was spent at work or sleeping. Well, I guess if I was sleeping, it wouldn't be a waking hour then. But anyways, you kind of get my point. It's been a rough week at work, being on night shift and stuff. But that will hopefully, like I said in the previous update, that will hopefully be coming to an end this week, maybe carrying a little into the following week, but before Labor Day should be all done. So I'm aiming to do videos this week. I got a little work to do over the weekend still, and then I've got to do some recording, because I figured I'd get at least one or two done, and I got jack shit done, so I just have the one video of Fighters Anthology that I recorded. So I've got, 5 recordings to make and 7 videos to edit. So editing's not the hard part. Once it gets to that stage, for most videos it's like 5 minutes, trim the ends, balance the audio. Oh, damn it, I didn't see that turret. I got to do some work on this game's visuals, but that'll be later. But yeah, trim the audio, or not trim the audio, but just balance it, upscale it to 4K, render. The recording's the longest part normally, because at least while it's rendering, I can do something else. But so the other thing to talk about is we got a couple video series that are going to be ending soon, actually. Specifically, just off the top of my head, I know we're getting close to the end on Sanitarium. Feels like we're getting real close to the end there. We've got the full story now, essentially. So I sense that there's probably only a couple more levels left, and then in the meantime, we've got Assassin's Creed that's gonna have like 3 videos left tops. So hopefully, as we get into fall here, we'll be able to start working our way into some other videos. Trying to think, what else am I doing? Join Ops is... the recording's actually pretty close to getting done, just because we batch so many episodes into a session typically. But so that'll last for a while. And I suppose I could pick something up in that slot, work ahead, but I could also just use that time to reinforce my existing schedule. So, that being said, so Assassin's Creed 1, when that finishes, I've been giving it a lot of thought, and I think I'm going to go straight into Assassin's Creed 2, because I've been really enjoying Assassin's Creed 1, and I've never played Assassin's Creed 2, so I don't want to get into it. Now, whether I continue on with, Brotherhood after that? I don't know. Maybe I'll be Assassin's Creeded out by then and we'll switch to something new, but I've been enjoying it. It's been a nice little blast from the past. Sanitarium, I've been giving that a lot of thought too, what to do once that's done. And I think I might actually do the Journeyman Project series. Because that's one of the things I wanted to do a long time, so I might actually just finally go and do it. And thankfully now they're all out on GOG except for what's the one that's Journeyman Project Turbo. Yeah, because we got Pegasus Prime, which is the superior Journeyman Project Purple, essentially. And then we've got, whatchamacallit, we've got Buried in Time, Legacy of Time. Those shouldn't be too hard to record, and those will actually probably also be relatively quick, if only because I know what the hell I'm doing. So, like, if there is one game series I wish I could make myself forget so I can experience for the first time again, it would probably be the Journeyman Project. So that's kind of what we've got to look forward coming up. And you'll notice I'm playing X-Wing here. Oh, don't want to miss our gate. Just because I've been having a really strong Star Wars itch lately. So I could very well start Star Wars videos soon. Now, if you know me, you know I've got to be... I like to do things in order, so to speak. Oh, I cannot think of words today. I am sorry. I am exhausted. I didn't even wake up until like 5 o'clock today. But, chronological. There's the word I was looking for. I like to do things in chronological order, which means starting from KOTOR, unfortunately, and then having to answer the Old Republic question, which is, certainly a big question to be answered. But, actually, what I might do that to equalize and get a little more speed out of this baby. But that's why I'm playing X-Wing, just because lately I've just had a really strong X-Wing hankering. Or, like, just a Star Wars combat sim in general. So we should be going probably around the same speed my X-Wing was going when I did this. So, to kind of switch gears into X-Wing a little, I'm doing, just doing the training grounds where you just run through the obstacle course. The targets occasionally shoot back at you. Eventually, you get platforms full of targets, and they all shoot back at you, and some of them are even set up to shoot at you from behind. So that way you can't just, like, double front, you're, like, have shields at half power and do double front, like the trench run. They get you for that. Targets give a 2-second bonus. Missing a gate is a 15-second penalty. And just to kind of talk about this a little bit, for me, it's actually kind of fun. Like, you think it's a little tricky too, because they kind of trick you into being like, oh, you got to go as fast as possible to beat the timer. But actually, what you want is you want to hit as many. And you can do that for the A-Wing, maybe the X-Wing, but for the Y-Wing and B-Wing, the trick to getting all 8 levels is to actually hit all the targets, which for the Y-Wing is very easy. Oh, I say as I miss a target. Oh man. But, like, compared to the X-Wing, there can be, or even the A-Wing and B-Wing, there's a little finagling about where your laser can end up, because, you know, on the X-Wing they're outranked. So, like, if I were in the X-Wing, I'd be like, you know, trying to make all the targets hit the same spot, whereas the Y-Wing, you can pretty much just point and shoot. So in that sense, it's kind of the easiest. The A-Wings are outranked a little bit, but at least it's only, you know, it's left and right as opposed to upper left, upper right, lower left, lower right. So there's less directions you have to cycle through. And yes, these platforms, the gate platforms, like the base of some of the gates, can be shot through. And obviously the enemy can shoot from them too. Obviously the gates themselves are basically, you just go right through them. There's really nothing there. Oh, shields get a little low there. But yeah, so in that sense, the time is the hardest. Making the time to run is the hardest, and that's like level 4 or 5, I think. After that, it gets easier, in my opinion, because they go back to giving you basically a reasonable amount of time, and you platforms full of targets. Now, and I watched a lot of not a lot of Let's Plays, but I tried to start a couple Let's Plays, and I couldn't really find any I was too big a fan on, because they just do the campaigns, which, yeah, that's where most of the action is. Some of them did the historical missions too, but, which makes me wonder how well known it is. Like, I haven't read the manual, which I'll do when I actually do get around to the X-Wing series, but, when you complete, like, if you go into the proving ground, okay, so basically this gets into the ranking structure of this game, but your rank is determined based on the number of points you accumulate, which you accumulate points during campaign missions for things like destroying enemy vessels, completing objectives, completing a mission, etc., etc. And if you get captured, if you lose your spacecraft, I forget on that, like if you eject but get recovered, I don't know if you lose your points there, but if you get captured by the Empire, if you die, I believe you do have the option to continue the campaign, but you lose all your accumulated score. You'll maintain your rank, but you'll have to regain all that score just to work your way back up before you can actually continue accumulating rank points towards your next promotion. But what you can do if you want to get a head up on the whole promotion system is if you complete, and you only have to do it for one craft type. I'll do it for all the craft types and then save the B-Wing for the B-Wing campaign. But if you get to the 8th level of any one of the obstacle courses, you not only get a patch for completing 8 levels of obstacle course with that craft, but you also get a promotion to flight officer from like recruit or rookie or whatever the base rank is. And I believe also if you complete, I want to say it's all of the historical missions, and you do it before you start any of the campaign missions, or the tour duty missions. If you complete the ones from the base game, because this game has several expansion packs basically built into it from the start. But, so if you complete X-Wing, Y-Wing, A-Wing historical missions, you get a patch for each mission you complete. And then if you complete all 18, I believe it is, then you also get and assuming you have the promotion from the obstacle course to flight officer, you will get promoted to, I want to say it's lieutenant, maybe? Ensign or lieutenant, whatever they use for the base rank in the Rebel Alliance. But so that's 2 free promotions right out of the gate that you don't even have to use points for. There we go, recharge the shields. But yeah, so that's why I want to do them. But I've got to do some, like, the other thing keeping me from just jumping straight into doing X-Wing is I got to do some research, because I know there seems to be a lot of people who like swear by the original DOS version of this game, or the collector's DOS version. And I've done a little investigation, and I definitely see some perks of the older DOS system. One of the cutscenes is a little more expanded. You get additional cutscenes for like getting into and out of your spacecraft before you leave the hangar. So I can certainly see the appeal. I think there's even an option where you can choose which role to fly in the mission, whereas in the X-Wing 95 version, you are stuck in whatever role the briefing tells you to be in. You don't get a choice. Whereas, hey, if you want to be the Y-Wings that disable the target instead of the X-Wings that cover the Y-Wings, you can slot yourself in that role, which is pretty cool. But, I mean, I'm fine doing what I'm told. That's probably more realistic. You know, it's not like, you know, in the carrier briefings, it's not like the captain's going to say, okay, who wants to bomb the target and who wants to be the escorts? You know, they're just going to assign one wing or the other. But, so I kind of do want to investigate. I also have like very faint memories, which I don't know if it was X-Wing or if I was thinking of Wing Commander maybe, but where like if your spacecraft gets really beat up, mechanic might say something on your return. So basically, before I even get into this, I gotta investigate all the extra cutscenes and content and stuff that would be in the DOS version, record that so I can insert it into the X-Wing 95 version to basically have the most complete and best looking version. I also want to get 3D graphics running. I'm running this in software mode right now just because the game crashes if you try to run it in 3D mode, which shouldn't be too hard. I'll probably just put a Voodoo FX driver or whatever in there and it'll probably work fine, but I mean, it looks really good, honestly. The textures are a little iffy. They're patterned, let's put it that way. I don't quite know how to describe it, but there's like, you can tell there's a pattern to the some of the textures that I don't think you get in the 3D version. It should possibly even let me scale it up just from 640 to 480 to something a little prettier to look at, but or at the very least something that doesn't strain my eyes so much to look at. Here, these platforms at a distance, they kind of have, like, on top of a ton of aliasing, they have, like, there's like a dithering or something in the, just a bunch of little black spots. You know, like a manga, a printed manga, almost. But, I don't think switching the 3D gets rid of that, I think. It's been forever since I've been able to play this game in 3D. But, yeah, so I gotta figure that out. And then, oh, what was the other thing I was going to say? And actually, it might be one of the first series I actually commissioned thumbnail art for, and background art for, since, you know, it's a 4x3, which, especially for this, like, you can get away in some 3D games by stretching it if you're willing to pay the price and the UI being stretched a bit, because the 3D objects rendering shouldn't be affected by the resolution generally. But with this, because the cockpit is such a strong part of the there was a second part of that. Because this cockpit is just such a strong part of the aesthetic, I don't want to stretch it. Nope. We're not doing behind the back turrets yet. But, so I kind of want to, I've liked, it's been a while since I made that change where I try to put a background on any 4x3 video. I kind of like it, especially like Sanitarium, and especially works out. So, you know, the ground control was kind of a miss there, just because all of the art of the game was low resolution. So there wasn't there wasn't much I could do there. But the other games that I've used it and worked out pretty well. I think that could be useful. You know, maybe have one for the hangar, one for the briefing, one for combat. You know, just something like that. I don't know, but kind of want to start going all out. And I'll probably have to commission something like that for when I get around to doing the Fallout series too. So, but yeah, so in short, I might start, because I'm coming around to Star Wars again, might do a couple Star Wars videos, probably doing Coder 1 and 2. And then I don't know if I'll do the Old Republic. Like, ideally, I would love to get 3 other people to do the Old Republic with. And, like, we each pick a class. I'd probably pick Jedi, because my understanding, I'm not big on the Jedi, to be honest, but my understanding is the Jedi is basically, storyline is basically KOTOR 3. So I would do that, but, you know, and just by doing it with other people for helping in all the story missions and whatnot, you know, we should be getting at least a semblance of the other class stories. You know, that way I don't have to play through the game 4 times, because I just got to chapter 3 for, like, the last time I played, which was months ago now. I just got to the chapter 3 of the base game story, and it took me forever to get there. Granted, I was doing every side quest and whatnot, but oh my god, it takes forever. And then there's still like 3 or 5 expansions, something like that, and the whole Eternal Empire saga. It's just, it makes me not even want to cover the game, just because it's so long, and it's an MMO, so it's tedious. Okay, so this is the hard level. You see, they give us only a 3-minute timer to start with, and they're pretty generous. A lot of the targets so far, at least, haven't been shooting us back, and you can see by hitting every target, you can, like there, we got up to 3 minutes and 1 second, which is more than what we started out with. And you won't be able to maintain that because there's a couple of these platforms have a really long, like this is a medium distance between the platforms, but a couple of them can get especially long. So your time will slowly be chipped away, but you can reduce it just by knocking out all of these, or at least as many as possible. You can miss a few, probably a few less in the Y-Wing than like the X-Wing, but that's why I got the shields being somewhat rediverted to engines, and then I'm transferring laser power to the shields to keep those strong, so that way we can kind of keep at least our base speed. Because it's funny, the production documents for like the original 3 Star Wars movies have the Y-Wing being as fast as the X-Wing, just less maneuverable and a little more tankier, I think. But and carrying more of a payload. But in a lot of Star Wars games, the Y-Wing is slower than the X-Wing. And here, you can see we average out to the baseline power level, which is speed of 80, whereas like the X-Wing will have a speed of 100. The TIE Fighter also has a speed of 100. I think the TIE Bomber does also have a speed of 80 in the TIE Fighter game. But most of the time, you'll probably won't stay at that speed too much, which is a little bit of a shame. And that's probably my biggest complaint about the power system, is I feel like keeping everything flatlined at the nominal level should give a slight charge to the system. It can be a slow charge, a trickle charge, but I think they should charge it. Instead, it just means the energy is going to stay there. You know, it's not going to go away, but it's also not going to refill itself, which is kind of annoying, because then you're basically, unless you do something like this, you're stuck at slower than your speed. And the AI, I think, doesn't have to deal with the power system. I think they're at base level energy all the time, but they get the benefit of infinite lasers and rechargeable shields. But they can still do it while going at their maximum normal speed. So a little cheaty there, I think. At least from my observations. But, other than that, I do love the power system. It does add a bit of strategy. But yeah, so Old Republic is like really where the slog would be. Because after that point, whoops, I did a boo-boo. Yeah, you don't want to... Well, your lasers can go through those platforms. Your spaceship will not, unfortunately. So we're going to lose a few seconds there. But it doesn't do hull damage or anything, so it's generous in that regard. We can offset that time just by continuing to shoot targets. Now we're halfway through the course, but we've only elapsed 1 of our original 3 minutes, so... I could probably have even done it maintaining charge to the shields without diverting them slightly to the engine, but I figure with how slow the shields are actually being drained, this is probably better, and it keeps me from having a buildup of unused energy in my laser bank, since I'm constantly refilling my shields from it. So it makes it a little more efficient. I missed that one. Yeah, so let's see, what else is there to talk about? Work. We went over work. I guess I didn't go over. I was sick a little bit last weekend too, which is why I didn't get recordings done. But, and that's kind of a lesser deal in the overall scheme of things. I'm obviously over it now. Let's see, went over work. Recording with FPS Chasley. There's not going to be any this weekend. He's not available. I've still got to do some work this weekend. So the earliest we might be doing those recording sessions, if you watch his videos and his streams, it would be next week. And obviously we've got to. I have no idea what we'll be able to do. We'll probably start by trying to troubleshoot joint operations, but no idea why it suddenly stopped working. But I'd like to finish the game, especially if we can get some people to join us. Because there's one mission that does need like 4 people. If we just cannot put out the amount of firepower needed to sink the patrol boats. But so we'll probably try to troubleshoot that, record that if we can, because we don't have that many missions left. If we fail that, we'll probably just go through and do Halo CE, which I'll probably eventually do a standalone Halo series where it's just me playing it. Because I've been, like, in the series we did, I kind of just rushed through the area. Like, unfortunately, like a lot of my friends do. I think a lot of people do in general. Kind of rush through everyone, push through anyone, instead of, trying to save all the Marines and, be the real Master Chief. I wonder, do the ion cannons? Ooh, the ion cannons do destroy them. Normally they just disable stuff. But there we go. We had 3 minutes to do that course, and we did it in less than a minute in a Y-Wing. By some estimates. So now, oops. I missed the gate. That's going to be a 15-second penalty. Damn it. We almost went the whole course without missing a gate. Yep, there he goes. One missed. I didn't even have a good reason to miss it. I will say I'm getting more used to the joystick sensitivity. They don't really have a dead zone, and as you've noticed, I can't roll my aircraft or my spacecraft to like match the platforms. I kind of gotta bank around to do it. I guess it rolls you a little bit when you bank. That's why I'm going like just to try to align myself somewhat with some of these platforms. But yeah, we're 5/8 of the way there, so I think I'll just finish this off. This will also be a unique series too, in that you actually have a built-in recorder. I'm not going to activate it right now, but if you see under... So, I laid up my torpedo indicators right now. And to the right of that, and underneath the right laser bank capacitor indicator, that is actually camera. Just pop it on and off. But it will actually record the mission and save it later for you to evaluate. So I can actually do a proper after-action report going over, okay, here's what we did well, here's where we could improve. Here's what happened. And kind of go through that process, because that's always cool to kind of look at a battle from a different perspective than just the first-person perspective. And, of course, I can use it to kind of cinematize everything, too, because then I can, go to the external perspective that I'm not going to here and stuff. There we go. Yeah, so what else to cover? Fighters Anthology. We're almost getting done through the fighter section. Then we have the bombers, and then the helicopters, and the tanks. They all have articles. The only thing that don't have articles is some generic buildings and ships. That's pretty much it. So there's a reason why I had 3 digits for the the Jaden's Fighters Anthology Beta Review 005 or whatever. You know, there's the reason there's 3 digits there. But that's really the last chunk of the game, other than my brother has said he's going to do some of those co-op missions with me. So eventually, when our schedules line up, we'll do those. And that'll be it for the base Fighters Anthology game, and I'll probably do some of the mods. USN Raptor has a place that I want to test out. Probably play through that mod set, and then once that's done, then I'll probably move on to Jane's USAF, maybe? I don't know. Or one of the World War II sims, maybe, just for a change of pace. Let's see, what's Wednesday? What do I do Wednesday? Oh, CMO, right. I think we're actually getting close to the end for building that scenario. It's going to require more human interaction than I originally wanted it. I wanted it to just play out. But I think we're getting to the point where we'll be able to finish it, and I've been very surprised with the results. And I think some of it was I just wasn't able to get the Chinese to properly do a cooperative attack, but seeing the USN battle group being able to survive and at such a high kill ratio in the air too between aircraft is really something that I was not expecting. I'd figured the first air battle, like the first sending up of the planes, as it were, would have seen the USN group severely depleted, but with the Chinese attack fended off, with the second one being mainly up to the missiles of God damn it. And of course that guy's gonna keep firing at me. But I would have thought that then it'd be up to the missiles of the battle group for the most part, with only a couple fighters able to run defense. But it's been a pleasant surprise. And granted, it is a very heavily reinforced battle group, and the Chinese ships aren't getting the air cover they should be getting, but it might do one more reevaluation, maybe have another ship in there or two for the Chinese to give air cover to those smaller attack groups. But other than that, and we were able to find one of their subs too, one of the nuclear ones, which are going to be louder, but like, we didn't have a solid fix on the end of it, but we were still able to see it was there, which was impressive to me. And that was with our ASW aircraft getting shot down a couple times too. Alright, these guys are getting a little annoying now. Also, the music sounds a little low quality. That's because the music has always been low quality for this game. Although it's not as bad as Star Wars Rebel Assault 2. That one is really compressed to all hell, and you can hear it, and it is glorious in its shitty compression. Another Star Wars game I'll probably end up playing. Not sure if I'll play Rebel Assault 1, because Rebel Assault 1 is kind of a fever dream, and I don't like it. But anyway, so Thursday, that is Assassin's Creed, I do believe? I do Friday. Oh yes, Gothic 1. So that'll just continue. Sounds like we might be getting close to the end of the first chapter of the game, so I think in the next couple sessions we should finally be able to afford some armor, and that will really help our survivability. I think we'll also get a few more level ups, which will also help our survivability, so we might be able to start getting more adventurous there. As far as what I'm going to do in Gothic, because I think Gothic 1 is probably going to be the next game I'll finish. And that might be where, like, if I decide to slot in Star Wars, that would probably be the slot that replaces it. Especially now, like, I've got Assassin's Creed under my belt, and I'm relatively happy with how I covered that. I'll probably try to do something similar with, you know, like KOTOR. Try to maybe like with Gothic, I think the titles generally kind of give away if I'm side questing or main questing. With Assassin's Creed, I make that very clear in the titles, and then have the bracketed letter, excuse me, to indicate, which might be redundant, but you know, whether I'm doing investigation, exploration. And I'll probably continue that for Assassin's Creed 2, because I believe that follows the same mechanics generally. So, yeah, feeling confident enough to do that. And then probably once I rotate out of Star Wars, like do a few Star Wars games, then I'll probably come back and do some Star Trek games, because I'm at the point now where the Star Trek games also kind of require a little, they don't require, but I want to put in a little more effort on them. You know, maybe I'd like to flesh out the ship that I designed for like the library computer. I might flesh that out a bit, because right now it's a Excelsior class, so that way it can continue into the TNG era when we get there. But I think the next Star Trek games chronologically would probably be Starfleet Command and Starfleet Command 2. Or, like, maybe I'll do Starfleet Command and then Klingon Academy and Starfleet Command 2. But it's gonna be something, because Starfleet Command 1 has 6 factions to play as. And I want to go through all their campaigns. For the Starfleet Command 1 was a little light on story, but they still have some. And I know what you basically get by joining the Special Operations Division of your faction. But some, like, I know, like, Starfleet just has, like, Starfleet Intelligence or whatever, but then, like, the Klingons have, like, Klingon Intelligence and Klingon Honor Guard. The Romulans have the Tal'Shir and, like, 2 other organizations. So I'm curious if there's any difference in story content depending on which organization you join, or if it just changes, like, the missions that you typically get sent on by them. Oh, that was the other thing I think I was going to briefly touch on it in the last video, but we got a new kitten. That's the other reason kind of my time has been limited, is a friend of my mom's found a stray kitten, took her in, but couldn't keep her because the husky was always trying to eat her. So we ended up adopting her, and she had lice, or not lice, fleas. She had fleas. She's got, like, an upper respiratory infection. She's got a like an ear infection. She was malnourished, underfed. So she's kind of been a joint project of our family, trying to get her healthier, and she's definitely made some progress. It sounds like her she's actually getting crap out of her nose now for her upper respiratory infection. The fleas are gone. She's eating a lot more. She's putting on a little bit of weight finally. So she's coming around, but it's been a project. Let's put it that way. So that's another reason some of my time has been limited. Like, what we gotta do is multiple times a day. The vet recommended we give her basically like a sauna treatment to help loosen up the crap in her nose. So, and of course, when I'm doing that, can't be recording. But yeah, that's kind of the outlook going forward, I think, from where we are. So I think for the rest of the episode, we'll just stick to talking about the X-Wing game. Probably could have done the other option would have been, I guess, to do Sid Meier's Pirates and find that lost city, but I do not feel like endlessly exploring the landmass of Mexico. Or Central America, more generally, since it wasn't Mexico back then, but okay. Yeah, so we're at about the end of level 6. So we just have levels 7 and 8 to go. 8, I think, is when they really bring out the like the rear firing. I think what I might do is equalize my my shields there. So we'll drop in speed a little bit, but you can see the turrets are getting a lot more aggressive. So this way I won't have to, you know, now I'm only fighting the turrets screwing up my ship and not the turrets and my shield energy being drained internally. There we go. I'm not as worried about the time now. Yes, we'll still be a little close, but as you can see, there are targets galore. I suppose if I really wanted to let my lasers recharge, I could switch to proton torpedoes, but those are, considering an ion cannon burst is enough to kill these turrets. Proton torpedoes are very overkill, especially since you only get 8 of them. There's no reloads. They didn't introduce reloading until TIE Fighter, and even then it was very mission-based. The mission basically had to let you reload, you know, with like a Star Destroyer deploying a reloading vessel or something. Uh-oh. I think I'm going to have to increase power to the shields too, just so they can get a little bit of charge on top of what my shoot, I don't know what I hit there. I can't look at anything. Oh, 4. We're just gonna get beyond the range. There. Nope. Nope, stay. Oh, that's a camera. Oh, I can pause it, thank God. Okay, exit. Okay, no, don't resume. Okay, pressing anything is going to resume. Well, that's a bit of a pain. Fortunately, the game crashed, and this is the old style games where there are no mission checkpoints. There is no partial credit. You finish the mission, or you do not. If I had actually exited the mission, it would have saved it up to, what were we on? The 7th level? I would have been able to start from the 7th level, but I wanted to finish it all in one go, so now it's all lost. I have to do it all over again from the game, which I'm not going to do. But just to kind of show things off here. So this is Testicles. Here is my test account, as you might imagine. So there's a patch for doing X-Wing Historical Mission 2, and there's the flight badge for doing the obstacle course. If the game hadn't crashed, if my cockpit view hadn't been fucked with, and I had managed to finish the course, I would have been given a Y-Wing flight badge, probably down here. That would have just been kind of the same thing, picture of a Y-Wing. As you can see, I have the rank of a flight officer. Medals case is basically, when they gave the game expansions, particularly the B-Wing one, they didn't leave space on the uniform for more decorations, so all the stuff from the expansion, like the B-Wing historical missions, the B-Wing training and stuff, that all goes in the medals case. And you can see, if we make a new pilot, so let's call them pilot T's. You can see he starts at a rank of flight cadet. Okay, we'll enter the spaceport just to save him. But you can see he starts, blank, so you can see that even though Testicles has a score of 0, a tour duty score of 0, he's got that flight officer promotion because Testicles completed the X-Wing flight course. And then you can see Splinter here, which is the name I gave, and I'll probably delete this and start from new when I do the Let's Play, but this is like a game I've been playing on and off for years now. As you can see, I'm only on Tour 1, but I'm ranked Captain because of my Tour Duty score. I've got all these decorations. I did all the historical missions. There you can see the Y-Wing flight badge. Okay, I was wrong. It was going to go above the X-Wing. Nothing in the mouse case because I didn't do any of the B-Wing stuff, but the really cool part is I know. If you don't select the pilot and you try to enter,
you must register.
He gets a little
You must register. You must register.
He gets a little nervous and starts pointing his gun at you. It does the same thing in TIE Fighter, which I really appreciate. These kinds of concourses in games where it's like interactive. Splinter copy is just the backup, so if I die, I can reload that without losing my progress. Oh yeah, there's a tech room. You can look at the specs for various craft. You can also, even the big ones like the Nebulon B frigate, although they don't have subsystem stats. You can also access a film room from here, where I obviously missed a bunch of films. I thought I cleared these out. I'm going to clear them out, but here you can see I was recording every mission. So this is Tour of Duty 1, and if we advance, we can, it's fast forwarding, but you can basically see, all right, destroying the 3 freighters. You got the Corvette, and, we can load in. I can,
Target destroyed.
Yeah, it's got all the, I can change the object that we follow to. So, let's see here. Transport Dagger, they're the ones capturing the Corvette. There we go. So, we're on the Corvette, and now we can see, Corvette focus on Corvette. Corvette focus on Transport Dagger. You can see the Stormtrooper transport coming in, and then it docks. Now we can do the opposite. Oh, they're docked, so it doesn't do it very much justice, but there you can see the freighter view of us while we were attacking it. So that's kind of what that does. So that obviously the proving ground is where we were. Historical combat is where you get those mission patches, and then this is where you register for Tour of Duty.
Welcome to Tour of Duty registration.
And you can actually change your Tour of Duties mid-tour, which is a little weird. So Tours 4 and 5, I believe, are the ones added in the expansion. So like 5 is entirely E-Wing based. Because that was, Return of the Jedi was the new movie when that expansion came out, so it's like, oh, we gotta put that in. It's also where you can review cutscenes. So here, where was it? Here we can see a cutscene of a rebel base being destroyed by the Imperials. And you can see they're obviously trying to evoke some Battle of Hoth stuff here.
Planet has been secured.
And some of the canon for this game has shifted too. See the crashed A-Wing there and the hangars for Lightcraft. But
Tour of Duty registration, sir.
Like obviously the B-Wings come out between the Battle of Yavin and the Battle of Hoth in here, whereas the new canon is the B-Wings actually emerged a few years before the Battle of Yavin in Star Wars Rebels. They had that prototype that I think they then expanded production on. Same thing with the A-Wings. Also, the player character in here, Kean Farlander, he was the he's actually the character you play as in here. There's not much outside the mission briefings and the combat missions that references this. It's mostly in the manual. But he was originally supposed to be the guy flying the Y-wing, the lone Y-wing that survived the Battle of Yavin. Of course, now that's been retconned with Disney stuff to be it's some female Alderaanian pilot that Leia goes on a trip with, I guess, in a comic. But I haven't followed the new canon too terribly much. Unfortunately, I gotta change that. But so I suppose Kian Farlander might be like a blue wing survivor or a green wing survivor that just, because his squad's been destroyed, he's not participating in Yavin. Because I still love this game, and I still want this game series to be canon. Squadrons is better than I had expected, but still lacking in. It's better in some areas, worse in others. It's actually surprisingly good game coming from EA. But I think that'll be all for this channel update. Now, I will say one last thing, though, is you can actually get an Easter egg on here on Christmas Day. I forget exactly where, but you can get Santa Claus appearing on the concourse. So I remember as a kid I used to change my system date to the 25th of December just to see Santa Claus show up. I suppose I could do it for this, but don't have the time, don't have the energy. So in any case, with that, thank you all for watching, and thank you all especially for your patience as I work through my work life and my personal life to get back to a spot where I can record consistently again. And stay safe out there, and we'll see you next time.
Shuttle departing.